can take your money with a twinkle in their eye. Take it all away and give it to some other guy. The government. The government can. And who can tax the sunrise? Who can tax the trees? Well, let's run a business and collect up all the fees. The government. The government can. And the government can. Folks, this is Robert McGinnis with Alabama Matters, and I'm coming to you with my brother Anthony McGinnis. He's here with us today.
Howdy, howdy.
And I'm running for the United States Senate by write-in ballot. I'm just reminding everybody who hasn't found this website. If you don't mind passing it on, I do appreciate it. It won't be without your help that I can be on that ballot, because it's going to have to be wrote in and a little oval signed in there. And they said that that's the only thing that will change. If you were to vote straight ballot and you put my name on there, everything else remained the same except that. So I'm running for the United States Senate from Alabama by write-in ballot. I'm asking for your help to do that. And by the way, the song that you heard is what we're going to be talking about and discussing about today. So I'm going to get my brother to start that over from the beginning and listen to this song all the way through. It's hilarious, but it's true. Who can take your money with a twinkle in their eye? Take it all away and give it to some other guy. The government. The government can. And who can tax the sunrise? Who can tax the trees? Oh, let's run a business and collect up all the fees. The government. The government can. And the government can, cause they mix it up with eyes and make it all taste good. The government takes everything we make to pay for all of their solutions, like healthcare, climate change, pollution. Just throw away the Constitution. I wrote that, thank
you. There you go.
That is so funny.
Straight from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That is so funny. Yeah.
And that's so true, because, I mean, that's what Joe Biden wants to do. He wants to take from one person and give it to somebody else.
And it's not just, it's not. Look, first of all, bless his heart.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
That's true.
I mean, Saudi Arabia was mocking him.
And that's pretty low.
Yeah.
When you have third world countries mocking you, you done hit rock bottom. That's like the lowest of the low you can get.
Wow. I mean, and the thing about it is, see, what it was is, if I'm not mistaken, it was Saudi Arabia, but there was a guy dressed up in drag,
mm-hmm.
Okay, and made to look like Kamala Harris, and another one that was made to look like Joe Biden, and Joe Biden is rambling. Their Joe Biden, I mean, is rambling, and their look-alike man that's dressed up in drag looks like Kamala Harris. He's standing next to him, and their Joe Biden turns and starts to wander off, and the guy runs over and grabs him real quick and brings him back. You know, and I'm saying, you know, I don't like the United States being mocked like that.
Right.
But whoever put that clip together was a genius, because it is the truth.
Exactly. And some of the funniest things come from the truth.
Right.
You know, you watch any comedy skit that is mocking whoever, part of it is based on the truth.
Sort of like those sharks that you was talking about. I can't remember his name. What was his name? You said he lost his show because the sharks were out there.
Oh, Anthony Jelinski. I think it's Jelinski. Something like that. Well, anyway, he's a very controversial comedian, and he's very raw, very raw. I mean, he will make you feel guilty about laughing about it.
What was the sharks about, though? I mean,
Well, people were always people were always blaming sharks for killing humans. You know, they're like, what are we going to do about this shark? It just killed somebody, or it just bit somebody. And his point was, it's not the shark's fault because you're in their environment. So instead of mourning the people who got attacked by sharks, we're going to celebrate the sharks for doing what they do in their own environment.
well, couldn't we say the same thing about what's going on now? I mean, after all, the American people, the ones who voted Joe Biden into office, the American people are the ones who voted the Democrats into power.
That's true.
I mean, couldn't we say the same thing?
And we could. And I think that was his point. I think because, like I said, he'd make it something so controversial. He'd make it so funny. You would laugh, and then you would literally feel guilty about laughing about it. But it was true. But what he said was true, and it was funny.
Well, people aren't laughing now.
No, not with what's going on nowadays.
You know,
No.
maybe it's a wake up call. Maybe it's a wake up call to America that we can't just vote for somebody that we like because they got
Right.
because they have charisma or something like that.
That's funny you said that. I listened to a clip about how people are blurring the lines between celebrities and presidents or elected officials. And I was like, that is so true. He said, basically, in essence, he said, we're starting to see more and more celebrities holding political offices because they're popular.
Well,
And I'm like, wow, that's exactly what happened. Jesse Ventura became governor. Jerry Springer, he was a mayor of some city, I think in Minnesota somewhere.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, the governor of California. Ronald Reagan was the governor of California and then become president.
Sonny Bono.
Yeah, Sonny Bono. There you go. I mean, see, we're starting to blur lines between celebrities and politicians. And I think that needs to stop. That was his point, the guy I listened to. That was his point. That needs to stop. Matter of fact, I think it was Ben Shapiro that said that. And I was like, that's a very good point. We need to stop mixing the two, entertainment with politics, because they're not the same.
But that's why Barack Obama got elected, is because his charisma.
Well, yeah, because his personality and because his charm and stuff like that. Yes, I agree. People were smitten with him because of how he come across.
On the flip side of that, I'm thinking that's why Donald Trump was unelected. It's because of his brassiness.
And I agree with that too. People couldn't handle the truth. People that they need to be spoon fed. They need sugar added. You know,
We're not sugarcoating it today.
We're not sugarcoating it today, and neither did Donald Trump. So, and that's why people vote for the soft spoken type politicians, because they needed to be sugar coated, spoon fed, and made them feel like they're important instead of being led. You know.
If I've learned anything from watching what's going on I'm talking about from the time Barack Obama was in office. If I've learned anything, liberal Democrats will do anything to win.
That is true.
They will lie, cheat, steal. They don't care. And they will be the most friendly people to your face that you can ever imagine.
Have you seen? I'm pretty sure you have, but have you seen Joe Biden's new press secretary? She is very personable.
Yes,
She is very personable. I mean, and she's very outspoken
but
at the same time.
have you listened to her though?
But yeah, I have, and that's my point. My point is, she can take something and twist it to her the way she wants it to sound. She can make something that's bad sound good.
Do you know Don Lemon
I've heard the name.
on CNN?
Heard the name.
I think I've heard other say his last name was Lamont.
Yeah.
But he asked her a question and said, "Does the Biden administration bear any responsibility for the inflation that's going on?" And she would not answer that question. She deflected.
I wouldn't doubt it. I
Uh,
don't doubt that one bit.
and another one, he asked her, he says, "Do you think that he has the mental capacity and physical capacity to be president?" And she said, among other things, she said, "Come on, he's the president."
Of course.
Okay, so he's okay, but and she goes, "Well, I can't keep up with him." And I was, wait a minute now. This man's like 80 years old, and you can't keep up with an 80-year-old? Oh, no, wait a minute now.
Yeah.
Who
possibly has dementia?
So when I listened to her, like I say, she's very. I mean, you said this. She's very personable.
Yeah, she is very charismatic.
But she can't put a sentence together.
Right.
And so we're going to have. America is in a situation now. They're in all the favoritism has got to stop.
Right.
That's got to stop. That's what this is all about. Both people, someone told me the very same thing about Barack Obama. I said, the only thing this is what I told him. I said, the only thing he's got going from him is that people like him. And the guy said, that's relevant. That's, we're going to have to stop treating this like it's a high school prom, king and queen.
Right. Exactly. This is not a popularity contest.
All right. We're going to have to stop that. We're going to have to stop that.
Yeah.
We're going to have to start looking at people who are like me, folks. And I don't mean to be bragging or anything, but this is just the truth. I'm not sugarcoating anything. A public servant knows who signs their paychecks.
Exactly.
A public servant knows who they work for. And we need to start electing some public servants.
Exactly.
And that's why my motto is elect a public servant. Because I've done this job before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to. A public servant also knows that he's got to make some hard choices, and you're not going to sugarcoat something. That's what they're trying to do now.
Exactly.
They're trying to sugarcoat this inflation.
Uh-huh.
They're trying to get this. They're trying to sugarcoat immigration.
Uh-huh.
And somebody please explain to me how they can sugarcoat not having formula for America's babies.
I don't even know how that would even happen. I mean, babies are the future of this country, and and the government is not even going to make it possible where baby formula is, waiting for us. I mean, that's just.
I think they've lost sight of who they work for.
Yes, they're. It seems like this administration is more concerned about what the rest of the world thinks of us versus what its own people think of the government. It's absolutely ridiculous. But I did read an article the other day about this Hispanic woman from Texas who switched from being a Democrat to a Republican and now is a congresswoman in Washington, D.C. And she said they interviewed her and they asked her why she switched over. And she said, because Democrats don't understand the Hispanic community.
She's the first Hispanic congressman.
Thank you. Yes. Mm-hmm. She said Democrats do not understand the Hispanic community. She said we're all about family, we're all about country, and we're all about working.
That's conservatism.
Exactly. And that's why she went from Democrat to Republican. And that's why she now, first time in 150 years, unseated a Democrat.
That's true.
She unseated a Democrat the first time in 150 years, and she's a Republican and Hispanic. That's telling you something there.
I believe the focus really ought to be that she's a conservative.
Yes, yes. My main focus is that she switched from Democrat to Republican because she finally understood that Democrats does not have her people at heart.
Right. And that's a trend that's going on. People are leaving the Democrat Party not because well, let me just put it this way: they're leaving the Democrat Party because they're no longer about the people. If they ever were,
At one point they were. At one point,
I know that at one point our dad used to be Democrat,
yes,
and he told our mom said, "We're going to have to switch parties," and that was back
80s,
80s,
Yeah.
70s. He said, "We're going to have to switch
Yeah.
parties." You know, I think that it's done gotten so bad that people are starting to wake up and say, "Hey, how long has this been going on?"
right?
You know, maybe this is. I hate to say this, but maybe with it being bitter, maybe it's bittersweet. You know,
Well, one thing I've always noticed about the Democratic Party is they always want to divide the country, and the one way to defeat your opponent is to divide and conquer.
Right.
You know, and that's all this country has been ever since Democrats been running. Is they try to divide the people. You know,
if it's about winning office, get this.
and that's mostly what it is.
If it's about staying in office, then it's no longer about the people,
Right.
and that's why people elect people to Congress, is so that they will have a voice in Congress. And now it's turned around so that they don't even have a voice anymore. People want more concerned about being in office than the people who elected them to be there.
Exactly. And I just want to give a shout out to OJ28. I believe that's a J. We appreciate you coming in to listen to our broadcast. We appreciate you being here. If you have any questions, just drop a question in the messaging, and we'll do the best we can to answer anything or anything any concerns you might have.
Any questions you want to present to me, because I'm running for the United States Senate by write-in ballot in Alabama. And I'm for the people. I work for the people. The people are the boss. And this is what I told somebody. I was out at my appointment at the VA yesterday. I told him, I said, "You're the boss. You are." I said, we elect people to go to be in Congress or even at the state level. I said, they get there and they forget who they work for. They forget why they're there. They start getting the big head, and if they don't have their way, then they get mad. It's not about them. It's about the people who elected them and making sure that the people who elected them, that their lives is the best life that they can have, because it's a.
And that's all we can ask for is for people that we need people that will make our lives better. We
exactly.
need people in DC to make our lives not gas prices going up, not food prices going up. I mean, yeah, I feel sorry for Ukraine. I wish we could do more to help them. But if it's cutting our throat to help another country, then that's different.
Let me tell you this. Where was I at? I took a trip to Faith Friends and Family are up there to Washington, D.C., and Mama went along with us. In the cab, the guy asked me, he says, the taxi cab driver, he asked me, he goes, does Alabama, do they still not like black people down there? I said, what are you talking about? He says, well, everybody I've talked to says that if you come down there, they got their gun waiting on you. I'm like, I said, maybe back in the 50s or 60s. I said, but this is Alabama. I said, Alabama today is the friendliest state that you could come into, and the prettiest, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we got to talking about that. And then I told him, I said, you know what? Liberal Democrats think that we should give our money, take our highest priority should that we take our money and take care of the people that are coming to this country illegally, and then if there's any money left over, we'll take care of the American people. He goes, that's not the way this works. I said, you're right. You're right. I said, but that's the way the liberal Democrats think of it. Is that Alabama or Mississippi or Georgia or any other state, they're wrong for not wanting to help somebody else and go without to do it. I'm like, wrong, wrong.
That's so true. So true. I mean, um,
The taxes are the now. Here's something that I found, just it blew my mind. Joe Biden says that he can't do anything about the inflation. He can't do anything about the rising gas prices. I said, but Donald Trump proved that you can
yeah, he did.
do something about it. He proved that you can, and here you are saying that you can't do anything about it. No, you don't want to do anything about it. Is what this is all about. Why? Because they want the Green New Deal stuff. They want everybody to switch over to electric cars. But here's a question: how can somebody afford a $60,000 car?
That's
You know,
that's
and
funny.
they say, and now they're talking. Get this. Now they're talking about blackouts. You know,
I did hear something about that.
Yeah.
Them talking about that in California, trying to
No.
get people to switch over to electric cars.
nationwide, and mainly right down the middle of the United States, they're thinking blackout. You know why? It's because we no longer have the oil to support our energy
It's
needs.
about supply and demand. The less you have, the higher the prices.
And
Point: some of the most richest oil countries in the world have some of the lowest gas prices. The number one country in the world that has the lowest gas prices, Venezuela, and it's at 8 cents a gallon. That's because they produce the most oil out of every country in the world. Even though, yes, U.S. can keep up with them, but they're not. They're not doing it. 8 cents a gallon. I mean, it's like, what is this? 1920?
everything, everything revolves around oil.
Yes.
Even the electric cars
Yes.
revolve around oil. And then they said, first, one of the points they made too was, first of all, nobody can buy a $60,000 electric vehicle. Secondly, there aren't enough electric places to charge them when you're going across country, so how far you can drive is going to be limited. It's not the time for this, but yet they're pushing that agenda to Green New Deal, all kind of stuff, and they're pushing that over the welfare of the American people.
Yes. And when I said California, I read an article about they are trying to force people into buying all electric cars, and the oil companies are like, okay, if you want to do that, we can switch everything over to electric, and then before you know it, we're going to have blackouts, we're going to have rolling brownouts, and everything else. And then what you going to do? Are you going to go sit out in your car in the air conditioner?
Case in point. Case in point. Do you remember the unexpected freeze that came through Texas?
Yes.
And they had blackouts
Yes.
because the green energy couldn't keep up with the demand.
Right.
Only oil can do that. Only oil can. But here's what breaks my heart. Here's what breaks my heart is that the Democrats and those other people who care more about this than the American people. To me, that's a traitor.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to be watching out for the Americans first. You ain't supposed to be pushing your own agenda. You ain't supposed to be getting your nose all bent out of shape because someone didn't buy an electric car,
Right.
or someone didn't. Someone cares more about feeding their own family than someone that's breaking into this country illegally. You don't get your nose bent out of shape. All that. You got your priorities wrong.
That is true.
That person, they have abandoned America.
But now, seeing how we're on the subject, on the flip side of that coin, I do have to condemn a few people who have been sabotaging people who own electric cars. This news article I read, um, people have been pulling up in non-electrical cars, pulling up in front of the plug-in stations, and not allowing people in electric cars to park and plug in. And if somebody is parked and plugged into an electrical outlet, they'll take a nap in their car, and people have been going over there and unplugging their car while they sleep. So, yeah, if you're one of those type of people, stop. This is a democracy. Those people bought an electric car, even though we do not agree with it. We still don't have the right. It's unethical. Yes, thank you. That was my very next word. It's unethical to do that to people just because you disagree with them.
It shows no compassion.
You need to step above those type of people and be better than them. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Just because we disagree with them doesn't mean we need to be mean to them.
We need to act better than them.
Exactly.
Behave better.
We need to be better than those type of people. So
they got. I'm just saying. There's going to come a washout. Is what I call it. They're calling it a red wave or whatever. The American. Now get this. In Nevada. I think is it Nevada? I believe it's Nevada, but I'm not exactly sure. That state is not their voters are the majority of their voters are not party affiliated. They're not party affiliated. So when whoever got I don't know who got the Republican nomination, but it caught my attention and said, well, whoever gets the Republican nomination on Tuesday or whatever, they're going to have to hit the ground running because the majority of voters in this state are not party affiliated. You know what? In Alabama, that's not true.
Right.
In Alabama, if you're a Republican, you normally get the spot. But we need to stop rubber stamping that in Alabama. We need to stop rubber stamping it. And we need to start taking a closer look and a harder look at where the priorities of these people are. And I'm going to tell you so. Katie Britt, I'm sure she's pretty.
Yeah.
But we don't need another pretty face.
That is true.
I'm not saying that she doesn't have the integrity to do the job. I'm saying we both have the integrity to do the job, and I'm more qualified to do it.
I don't know much about her at all, actually.
She used to be the chief of staff for Richard Shelby.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, let me just, like I said, I ain't going to sugarcoat anything, but we only got about 3 minutes left here, counting. I was talking to another veteran one day. I was telling him that I was running for the United States Senate, told him why, by writing ballot and everything. I said, Richard Shelby, he's not, he's retiring. And I want to take the spot because I believe, first of all, I believe that I'm doing what God wants me to do. That's number one. Secondly, I believe that Alabama believes in God. I believe that even if they don't go to church, I believe that they believe in God. It's a religious state. And I believe that my values, moral values, align with those of Alabama.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
And I was telling him, I said, if that ever changes, I have to check my values my convictions at the door in order to represent Alabama. Correct. I said, so if those convictions ever changed in Alabama, started wanting me to do things that went against my convictions, I would have to resign.
Right.
A politician won't do that. A politician, Katie Britt won't do that. Katie Britt will stay in there and do what she thinks is right. At that point, she's no longer representing Alabama. She's representing what she thinks is right.
Correct.
A public servant should resign and say, you need to get somebody in here who agrees with you.
Yes.
You know, I'm not going to hold on to that spot. The reason I want to go in there in the first place is to represent Alabama.
And that's what we need. We need people that represent our convictions, our beliefs, and like you said, they need to align.
They need to align because I check mine at the door because I've done this job before under a different name, a different title as an investigator for a housing authority. Had to work with all different departments, state, federal, public, local, all of them. That's called being a senator.
Correct. Yes.
That's a public servant.
Well, we thank everybody who tuned in to listen to us today, and we hope you tune in again next week as we continue our broadcasting up and for foreseeable future. And hope you have a wonderful week, and God bless.